open it up for Coach.
All right. Just a great college football game. Two really good teams going back and forth. Certainly want to give credit to Clemson and Dabo and his staff. His team was well prepared, and they did a great job. But also proud of our team. I thought we battled and competed, and, sometimes two good teams go at it, and one team maybe makes one more play than the other team, and I think that's what today came down to. It was a great atmosphere, sold out. Really want to thank our students for how well they showed out, and all of our fans, over 32,000 people. And again, it was just a great back-and-forth football game. We got off to a slow start. And then the second quarter, I really felt we got some confidence on offense. And, and then the third quarter and fourth quarter, we really got into a rhythm. And they did too. I think today was just, neither team could really defend the deep ball. And, that's what it came down to at the end, that, they hit that one down the middle, and, we had the ball tipped, and then, we missed a shot at the end. So, again, it was a one-play game, and they made that one more play than us. So the locker room right now is hurting. That's a football team that has invested a lot, and they care a lot, and expected to win this game. But again, there's a lot of football left, and, you're not going to win the league with one game, and you're not going to lose it with a game. And obviously it's a league loss, and they're one up on us, but there's a lot of football left. And again, I feel we have a pretty good football team that, we'll be back.
Given how the series has gone in recent years, you mentioned how proud you were of your team. What makes you most proud after that?
I just think the overall effort. Our kids played so hard, and so did Clemson's. Those were two really good football teams that just went back and forth, and the effort was great on both sides. Neither team was going to give up, and they just kept pushing and kept making plays on both sides of the ball.
The possession started with about 4 minutes left in the game. Were you eyeing that as a bleed it down and kick a field goal and leave?
Well, we had to. You're right on the edge there. And so the idea was that I thought we had to play with normal tempo. We weren't going to start bleeding the clock until we got to midfield under 2 minutes. And then at that point, you want to get to the point that you either win the game or you don't give them a chance to win it. And, I thought about going forward on that fourth down, but, their kicker just hit a 53, 54-yarder. And you're basically putting them 15 yards away from hitting another one like that. And, if it was 2 or 3 yards closer, I probably would have ended up going for it. But 4th and 5 was just a little too much. And, they burned their last time out. And so you're punting it with 49 seconds, and they have no timeouts. And, you can play a little bit of umbrella coverage and force the ball in the middle of the field. And, I didn't want them to get to the other 35. I thought if they got to the other 35, PT, that last one would have been good from 60.
David, in a game like this, you just tell your team, let's get the ball back when you're both going.
You just had to get a stop. It has to be an interception or a fumble, or you just got to get a stop. And, the hard thing is with their run game and their offensive line and Shipley, and as much as they run the quarterback, it's really hard to protect the corners, because then they just, if you play a light box against them, they're just going to go up and down the field. We just obviously, on both sides of the ball, the receivers were winning those perimeter matchups for both teams. So I don't know how many times that, that matchup and that throw or pass interference bailed us out, and it was the same thing on the other side of the ball.
Going in, how confident were you were going to have enough protection to test those corners down the field?
Well, that was going to be the game. Could we protect long enough? We felt really good about our receiver matchups on their DBs, and it was just a matter if we could protect long enough to get the ball thrown.
Did they change the way they covered you guys, considering the ability in the second half to run the ball?
Yeah, the first half they played a front that we call bear. So they took the linebacker Simpson and they lined him up on the edge and they were outnumbering the front. So whatever we call it, bear, double eagle, that's a run stopping front. And they have more hats than we have hats. And, that's how they've defended us in the past. And when we've run the RPOs or drop back game, they've always gotten to us before we could get rid of the football. But I thought we did a much better job protecting today. We gave Sam time. We gave our receivers a chance to get open, and we threw it for 6 touchdowns and 337 yards, and probably had another 60, 70 yards on pass interference calls that would have been big plays if they didn't tackle us or grab us, and that was really the game. That they've defended us in a very similar fashion the last few years. And, a year ago we didn't hold up in protection, and this year we did.
Was there a time in that final 4-minute drive in which you would have been more antsy to go ahead and push the ball down the field and try to be the first bystander?
Well, again, late in the game, part of the reason we were running it is they stopped dropping off, right? That they weren't playing the bear. They weren't playing the cover one. They were playing a soft zone and giving us a 6-man box, and we were able to run it and make first downs. And when you're doing that, though, that one TFL, that one sack completely gets you off schedule. And the sack they had to get us 3rd and 15 really changed the game. That we're we were 2nd and 10, but we're near the middle of the field. We're getting to that spot that we might go for it on 4th down. And then they had the sack, which got us 3rd and 15. And then it was just really important that next play that we get the ball in play. I told Sam, any completion's a good completion, and a sack is better than an incompletion, because you didn't want them to get the ball back with a timeout and a minute left. And they really dropped out of there, and we took Blake on the check down. And like I said, if we could have got a few more yards, maybe you think about going for it. But the way the kicker hit that previous field goal really changed how we managed that whole sequence.
A couple more, guys. Given everything that you've put into getting to a place where you can play with them for 4 quarters, how difficult is it going to be to pick them up?
Connor, our football team expects to win games, and any loss is difficult. So if we lost last week, it'd be difficult. This is difficult. Our football team expects to win. We're a good football team, and you go through a season, and, there's not too many teams that go through it undefeated. And, we hit our first adversity. We're 3-0. We lost to Clemson in overtime, and we're going to have to bounce back. And, I'm confident we will. But the opponent next week's a pretty good football team, too, and you're going on the road and playing in a difficult environment.
Sam Hartman broke his own school record for passing touchdown. Given the fact he didn't throw a pick and the opponent on the other side, is that about as good as you've seen Sam play?
It's hard to say. Sam's had a lot of really good games here, Josh. He's, when you throw for as many touchdowns and as many yards and as he has, he's had a lot of really good games. And certainly given the opponent, this was another really strong performance.
It made clear how confident this team is. Why were they? For those of us who've seen you all struggle so much against Clemson, why were they confident, especially after being down 14-0? What's the difference?
I just think, I think when we first got here, Ivan, if you combined our roster and Clemson's roster, probably very few of our guys would play for Clemson. And we go about it differently. Clemson recruits at a really high level, and, if you compare all the recruiting rankings and the stars, but if you watch the film, we have some pretty good players. And I think, a lot of guys that we have would play for Clemson. And I'm not saying they'd start. Some of them would. But I think, I always kind of look at an opponent and I say, okay, if you combine the two rosters, how many players from Wake would start and play, how many from the opponent? And in my 9 years here, this is probably as balanced as I thought it ever was. And, a year ago, we went into this game down 2 starting O-linemen. And, we were a really good team, and we were 9-1. But we were playing a guy at center for the first time, and another younger old lineman was making his first start. And it's not a great team to line up against for the first time. And, on offense, we were healthy. We had our starting O-line, our starting quarterback, our starting tailbacks, all of our receivers. And we were excited to have the chance to play against them with a healthy football team.
You guys good?
Thanks.